Actually, I would actually say that's a common misconception about the
Okay,
way
great. Good to know.
is
Good.
that now they are trainable. You can train them
Okay.
to learn more over time.
Okay.
But training, like giving a model information that tailors it for a specific experience, or either builds it initially or tailors it for a specific experience, is one like technical activity, and then inferencing or like the generating of responses is a separate technical activity. So sometimes
Okay.
people get nervous when they hear about these
Oh,
big models. They're like, wait, everyone's using the same foundation model. Is your big foundation model going to get smarter based on my information, and then those smarts are going to be used to help my competitor? And that really doesn't happen,
hmm
because the foundation models are trained in like one way, and then as they are used to generate, their language understanding is leveraged, they aren't changing as part of that process. It has to be a separate training activity that happens with the model in order to change
got
the
it.
functionality.
Okay.
So customers can also fine tune some of these models for their own, to like recognize their own language. But what they're seeing is, in a lot of cases, the fine tuning that was once needed for these models is not necessary. You're better off with that combination of the language understanding comes from the model and the factual information comes from my data that I feed into the model through this retrieval augmented generation process.
Yeah. And you still have that human in the loop to be importing that meta information, or to like be guiding the AI so that it's producing the right outputs for your
Right.
company.
And it can be really, I think you make a really good point about, because there is a human in the loop, but sometimes that human role differs. And so
Yeah.
understanding the human role can be,
hmm
again, an important part of building both your application and the operations around your application,
Right.
right? So
Right.
like Mike was saying, like if you're generating like important marketing content that you're gonna, pay to run in media, you're going to have a person look at every single piece of that before it goes out the door. If you're implementing a chatbot on your website to interact with your customers, it's not going to bring you much efficiency if somebody has to read the
Yes.
response every single time,
Right.
right? So at that point, but the human is in the loop in the design process, in the testing process, making
hmm
sure we think it's pointing to the right,
Hmm.
the current catalog of data, who's doing some testing, who's designing that meta prompt to, instruct the model to be accurate in its outputs, that sort of thing. So the human can sometimes be more in the design of the
Hmm.
implementation, and sometimes at the point of actually utilizing the output content.